Good morning from New York, and I'm always talking about big Linux, so yeah, let's see. I'll work more. Okay, all right. You see the snow? It works so well, Laura. Okay, this was automatically on the 24th of December put on my screen by Big Linux. Merry Christmassy people there. There it is. Oh, you gotta love those guys. Anyway, on both my screens, dual monitor. Yeah, League Linux. Merry Christmas. Anyway, I wanted to. Yeah, this is a crude prediction. Yeah. Wow. Now I'll get my horse and buggy after this. Go down memory lane. Anyway, what else am I gonna do? Anyway, yeah, yeah, forgot. And I got to thank Big Linux and switch to Linux and this distro too. For all of the great videos about Linux, most of which goes right over my head. Never mind. I listen to Neil deGrasse Tyson, and he goes over my head. I'm just a big ape, in a very complicated world going. "Arr." But anyway, I try. Do try. Uh, all these people are brilliant to me. They don't know how brilliant they are because they've never been as dumb as I am. But yeah, today's subject communication, IMC, introverted, extroverted, and the power to share and trade peacefully. Yeah, I'm looking over here reading something. Yeah, I could use some modernization and help. Yeah, okay. Well, my daughter's gonna join me eventually in this productions, I think. Whenever she might have time. My daughter, my daughter, be specific, my daughter Amber. Anyway, so brilliant, brilliant young lady. Yeah, mucho proud of her. So much over. However, I got them. Anyway, yeah, when we're talking about communication, that's you think about communicating between yourself and other people. Well, in your mind, you do that all the time. In your dreams, there's a population there, and Yeah. So we are all both extroverted and introverted. You go into your mind, into communication in your mind. Um, that's like in a dream or in your imagination. Is that extroverted or introverted? If you were to do the dialogue of the practice of inner mind communication. Well, what you experienced outside and observed outside of communication is going to be evident in your imagination experience of communication. So that's within you, and that would be someone who's an introvert might could easily do that. But is that introverted? Yeah, kinda. But could it feed the ability to be more extroverted? You know, when you practice many points of view inside your head, you might just respect and want to hear others, but also feel like you have something to offer yourself. Uh, you can be an introvert and not blah 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 like I do all the time. And still be a host of a show. That would be a great ability there to know when to speak, how to speak. So are people actually introverted or extroverted? I wonder about that. Um, just becoming comfortable with being either you can do with inner mind communication. Because in a sense, you get to realize that everything is introverted in your experience. It's filtered through your brain. You don't see, your senses pick up things and so on, but even that is to dramatic sense of self, your experience of this life has been filtered by your brain, and it's actually an inner mind experience all the time, correct? It's important to realize that for the mystic, going within that common experience with that end NDEs is realizing that you as a subject object observing the world is a bit of an illusion. You are the subject and the object. The illusion drops away in some of your experiences in communication. And that's like a goal in Zen. And in mindfulness practice, which is a big thing in Zen, Zen Buddhism. You realize that the inside and the outside really is just a convenient way of seeing things in order to order your life, but it isn't real. And your sense of self itself is You observe and imagine yourself to be extroverted or introverted. Well, you are experiencing how your mind pictures things, and you're imagining from your experiences uh, what all life means. So, and your sense of self depends, or the sense that you have a self depends on what you observe to in your mind to be uh, other than yourself. And is it? It really isn't. Yeah, it's, it's funny when you're talking about some of these things, you start drifting into the space of no mind, uh, one with the universe, and feelings. Peacefulness of it makes you feel sleepy. Well, a little. Yeah, if you're sleep deprived, when you calm down, you feel sleepy, right? Yeah, it's the big calm. In the big calm, you're neither a subject or an object, or you're both. You can be the subject of your imagination. So who are you then? And these boundaries define, if you remove the boundaries of how you imagine reality to be, there's no self. Depends on the boundaries, the interchange. So seeing those things as ultimately real. Well, with that, not to say that there's no reality. Physicists is certainly going to tell you there is, sort of. Somebody you talk to sometimes, but yeah. There's some physicists say that time itself is an illusion, and free will is in question. So, in that regard, when you're talking to someone else, you are communicating between one point in space time to another point. Just you're a manifestation of space time. And not an actor or something going through it. That's an illusion. Uh, NDE experiences. Brain's getting old. NDE experiences are such that they report that that this experience leaves them with no sense of time. Well, if you drop away from seeing yourself as a thing moving through time, you become a manifestation. yourself. FaceTime. And that is attached to free will, that concept, which is a bit of an illusion. So why are we even bothering talking? Well, it seems to be useful. Someone asked me, did I think that we had free will? I says probably not, but it's still good to plan your day in the morning, maybe the night before. And yeah. So are you an introvert or are you an extrovert? Well, you're both. And well, they say there's a spectrum. Between what? I think that better defined. Anyway, you're inside and outside of things, depending on, you know, depending on your personality. And there are people who are real glad handers, and they love to talk to people, strangers on the street. People are more shy. So, or you really, when you say introvert, are you saying shy? That's another thing. And you can overcome shyness, with practice. So to some degree. I would think that a person is, if they have anxieties about talking to other people and so on, there's some root causes to that. You might find it in your deep introspection, definitely in your well, let me back up. I see things through the lens of oftentimes how trauma affects people, how damaged faith and love, the anxiety from that, extreme forms like PTSD and ACEs, adverse childhood experiences, and so on. These are all things that are snow. It's just a little distracting. It's just so calm. Yeah, it's like making me. I'm tired, so it's making me drift off to sleep every now and then here. But it's still charming that that was automatically done to my computer. I think switch to Linux guy would have no problem with somebody doing that to his computer. Anyway, but I think it's charming. I don't mind it. I'll find a way to remove it again. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, it's hard not to space out when you're talking about these kind of subjects. It's mind-boggling. But yeah, you can overcome shyness, by practice. You can practice in your mind. inner mind communication, you can practice extroverted kinds of dialogues, engaged in a dialogue, which is all what I am, my version of IMC is all about. You're definitely, you can become comfortable with that, then you should be able to be comfortable over time with the real dialogues with people around you. And is that a real dialogue? That's another question, because other times we're imagining, filtering all the time what the other person said, and having all kinds of thoughts about what they intended by what they said. So, yeah, what's real? That's a good question. Yeah. See what an idiot brain does uh, when confronted with the depths of reality that physicists talk about. Yeah. Yeah, it's overload. Yeah, anyhow, if you're as mystified by those things as I am, then welcome to my club. Anyway, no, I don't think that you're powerless to change from an extrovert or an introvert to balance these things and do them more appropriately. It's just a matter of training on one hand and getting rid of damage, faith, and love, that impact on the other, which may have been the cause for you to be overly extroverted or overly introverted easily. So the curative aspects, say that with great caution. I'm not trying to. Is there a disease there, or that depends on your definitions and how you view the normal reactions to trauma that anyone would have under the same conditions with actual something that's an invasion of your body or something like something genetic that makes you gives you adverse experiences and death at times and call it a disease. So actually, with IMC, we don't have a disease. That's not a disease model. Don't see it as disease. I see it as a natural reaction to traumas and undoing that some of the effects of that. And yeah, and one thing for sure, you're not nuts. Yeah, right. In some of these phrases, uh, you're not nuts because you're suffering from ACEs or PTSD. It's not. Nuts is a kind of crude reference to psychiatric disorders. And I really, yeah, that's a lens, that's a way of seeing things. But I don't think it's that helpful to an individual. It's a kind of a more depressing kind of way to see things, and since you can undo effects of trauma to a large degree, I think I would just drop the medical model. But unless, the only way to deal with it is medication. So, in other words, I don't think psychologists are practicing medicine. So they're just adjusting, helping you adjust how you see things and experience things, and helping you train yourself to be different. But how should they know what you should be? I've heard the phrase something about, if you don't do something to help humanity before you die, you should be ashamed to die. It's something like that. But what are you doing to help humanity? Being you helps humanity. If all you do is, your perspective is get help, you're still helping the love flow. Without needs, there's no love. Need, and then you have that meeting of need, and no matter where you are on that spectrum, you're valuable. Nothing to be ashamed of. Be yourself. Maybe we should be ashamed not to be ourselves. What is yourself? What you imagine it to be in part. What other people tell you you are. But actually, none of that matters. You are your natural self, is that part of you that isn't suffering from the traumas of life. But everybody has trauma in their life. Adverse experiences, certainly. That's snow. Anyway, so yeah, what's I have a friend that says he's an introvert, but he also has given speeches, and he's very political. So I'm like, these perceptions we have of ourselves, play with those things, look at yourself differently for a change. You can do that in your imagination. And, what isn't real doesn't mesh with how your experiences mesh together in a way that you can understand it. That is you being your own psychologist when you do that. There's nothing wrong with that. There was a whole flurry of a period of time in which people were talking about self-help psychology. Yeah. Well, if you're going to take a medical model, then I guess you can say that you're your own doctor at times. Certainly, it's no good to have a doctor if you don't do what they tell you. Or permit them to do what they need to do. Send you to the surgeon. So, well, all of this about extrovert and introvert, to me, it's, you develop both things. Practice inner mind communication, use your imagination. You should be able to develop a greater ability for the one or the other just from doing that. And you don't need to go to see a professional, a mind professional to do that. It's your mind. It's like, this is my computer. I have Linux on it. It's mine. I do what I want with it. You I can put this distro on or that distro on easily, and I can make the more I listen to switch to Linux and DistroTube, the more I'm able to understand it and be able to do more with it. It's mine. If you have Windows, it's not yours. It certainly isn't. You've got the operating system, but it's never yours to use and do what you want. It's theirs, and you pay for the right to have and use it for a period of time. You can't do anything to change it. They keep their code to themselves because they want to not let you have what you want or understand it or change that setup. They want you to have to come to them. And yeah, I'm not saying the Windows Iron isn't a good, thing to use for some things for some people, but I love Linux. And let's move right along to the power to share and trade peacefully. Well, as you know, empathy is a big thing with inner mind communication. Practice of the three forms of empathy that I talk about, which is objective, creative, and compassionate. These perspectives help you to find a greater peace in yourself because it does help you to unlearn your helplessness. In this case, we're talking extroverted and introverted. That's a learned helplessness in some degree, and or conditioned helplessness from traumas, which is a medical model saying, and another way to say it's damaged faith and love. Yeah. And helplessness around your needs and your feelings and their expression, your helplessness to know and to express fully needs and things that have been repressed due to they're becoming, well, back to the medical, toxic inside you. The need itself, because you were helpless to get it and so on, is becomes, because of trauma, becomes can become painful to approach. But if you learn to comfort yourself using all of these techniques that we talk about and I talk about here in inner mind communication, you can slowly undo the effects of trauma and conditionings which would cause you to be perhaps too extroverted or introverted. So how does that relate to peaceful trade? Well, if you're having empathy for other people, your trade will not be governed by you owe me this much, or this is mine, that's yours. It has to do with sharing. That kind of sharing trade. You remember, they're already in a trade with yourself and others, and one country to another. You're trading goods, services, and so on. But that's part of the love flow. But realize that the love flow also involves helping people without payment, sharing your good fortune. Now, that leads to greater fairness of trade, and it leads to greater peaceful, greater I want to say greater peace. Yeah, and that sounds a little awkward. Um, it will promote peace in the world. If people are going to be less likely to attack each other if they realize that trade is always going on, and helping someone else without payment is still a trade. And it helps both the person giving and the person receiving. That's key to understanding sharing. You know, it's like if there's a country that they don't have much to share, well, help them to develop things, to share, and give them what they need. So that they're not, ease their suffering. Definitely. And help them out. And you hear people that, we're giving all this money overseas. What about me? Really? And you want to be spiritual, right? It isn't all about you. It's about you and others all together. It's about everything. And peaceful trade demands that we have compassion for third world countries, that we give them help without asking anything back. We already got something back because we grew a bit by helping. And that's our trade. So I finally said something that did make me fall asleep. Yeah. Wow, big achievement. Anyhow, I hope I haven't made all of you fall asleep. Yeah, perhaps this hasn't been a good trade for you, but maybe something said will be useful to you today. So, introvert or extrovert? What are you? Put it in the comments. Why do you think you're introverted? Why do you think you're extroverted? and maybe talk about the ways in which you are extroverted and ways in which you're introverted. And whatever you are, you're valuable. You don't need to be ashamed to die. Yeah, you've contributed. You should work on seeing yourself as a valuable part of society, and regardless of anything you might have done that was harmful, you're still a useful part of the love trade. If you are someone whose brain has caused you to commit a crime, well, helping you to deal with that and not be a criminal is an opportunity and a blessing for others who help you. And you're still valuable. Part of it. You can't not be part of it. Just think about, your children, Are you helping them so that they can pay you back? No. They are precious and a great gift because you don't expect any payment back. You have the empathy to appreciate them and be happy with their success. And of course, we all hope that we die before our kids. It's the biggest blow of all. It's the most horrible thing of all. You should lose a child. It's happening in Gaza. These people can't trade. These people don't realize that letting your guard down and trying to give and sacrifice and that needs to be made. You got to, learn to share and bombing the people and care which side. I mean, you're killing. You're killing even civilians, killing children. You're destroying hospitals, and you can't do a better trade than that. I think they could, and I think if they were, the people with the real empathy are the people rushing in to help. That's a beautiful thing to observe right now. Is other countries racing in and doing all they can to help the tragedy that's going on. They're trying to create peaceful trade, and they're risking death themselves and harm in order to do that. Asking anything back? No. What's their hearts? In a positive way. But the countries, they seem to, these large institutions or whatever, they can get away from the humanity of it and act in a more sociopathic kind of way. They're not about sharing. And that's where greed comes in, They're both wanting this strip of land They don't want the other group to be there. That's not right. I have to say, a lot of it has been fueled by religion. So this channel is about being spiritual. So, yeah, you can be both, kinda. But locking your mind into a set of beliefs and that you do not or fear to question is not healthy. I don't care what it is, it's not a healthy thing. You know, you shouldn't have to fear to doubt anything. That's why I said, you know, the greatest mystics, the greatest empathetic appreciators of mystery and so on are scientists. They're very humble. I don't, you know, I don't know if you name me a rich physicist. And they look at all they give, contributed to radio, this here, what's going on, all of that from them. And who among them has become super wealthy? Really, when you've got too much, it's time to share. And that doesn't mean you go away with less. You go away with a priceless gift. A mystic experience of empathy with the world, the universe, the earth, and everybody. So, yeah, you have nothing to say about this video. Criticize it, make fun of it. It has value, or a terrible presentation, I'll admit. But it can spur conversation. You can say, wow. Or like a different person might help, right? You know, it can't be pleasant to look at this ugly face all day. See, now people say, "Oh, that's depressing." You know, you should talk about yourself. You don't love yourself. Really? I have no self. And this face is funny looking to me, and it's okay. Clowns have value. So, yeah, I don't. And the value of this presentation is that people know what they're doing can criticize it and talk about how it might be improved and direct them to their channel. And you can do that on my channel. I don't care. I think it would be great, you know. And if you're doing a better job of presentating, there you go. There's still of ignorance. That isn't a word, is it? Oh, well. But it's creative. Yeah, that's fine. And I'll go to your channel and you do greater good than what I'm doing. And that's fine with me. I don't care. Yeah, I would like to be able to be blessed for doing this in a way that I can take care of vital needs But at my age, what is that? Not a whole lot. Don't need a lot. Thought seriously about becoming a Buddhist monk before. And briefly, consideration when I was very young, being a Christian monk, a Catholic monk. Yeah. But when I talked to one fellow, like, how do you deal with it was monk? It was when I was very young. I was checking it out. So, how do you deal with your sexual urges? It's like you're not going to be married. You're not going to have any kind of sex. How do you deal with that? And he showed me a modern art presentation of Mother Mary. And he seemed to be fetishing over that. I decided, I don't know about being a monk. I mean, that's not for me. It was you barely tell that that was a woman. I mean, it was curvy. Oh God! Plus, she's a mother. I'm just like, oh, that's not that Freud thing. You're actually wanting your mom. I don't think so. Anyway, I felt like that about my mom. That's crazy. Anyway, yeah, yeah, modern art presentation of what Mother Mary should look like or whatever. Yeah, there it was, there in the monastery. I guess a big donor to the monastery church decided that, you oh, will you take my art and put it there? Okay. You're a big donor. Yeah, well, so I don't know. Life is crazy. So you come to the channel to figure out how to stop the crazy in the world. We're probably going to only make a small dent, but it's fun to try. Okay, it's fun to try. Like I try to use Linux. And I don't understand a lot about it. Whoa, it's neat. Hats off to Big Linux again that I'm able to annoy you like this with this video. Anyway, yeah, you have to wonder when you're doing a video and you're talking about subjects like I talk about, what would Neil deGrasse Tyson say about it? Is would he, you know, totally destroy the whole value of your videos? Really? But I'm just, try it, see how it works for you. It's open source, and try it with a professional. Don't be dependent on somebody. Come on, learn to help yourself. That's an interesting thing between the two parties that we have. The good thing in Republican Party is to help yourself. Come on, and the other party's going, no. Sometimes you need help. Yeah, both things are true. Why not have both? How about a party that's both? You know, wouldn't that help the love flow a great deal? Yeah. There's this tug and pull one way and the other, And you wonder about that. But there's no free trade without fair trade. And what's fair? Well, that's on a spectrum, I suppose. But when you see children, women suffering and oppressed, that's not fair. Okay, that's not take care of if a person's starving in the street, that's not fair. Come on, look at the extreme ends of it, and you definitely see that that's not fair trade. And fair trade doesn't mean that somebody else can help you or give something back to you. You're blessed by helping them when they can't help themselves. I can't seem to help myself, to produce better videos. So, will you help me? Anyway, it's cool being a part of this YouTube experiment, and hope it ends up good. Hope it ends up real good. And if you found yourself terribly bored by the things that I've had to say, well, maybe you're too smart and you already understand all these things and you really don't need to be listening to me, so why do you listen? So, and mix it up a little bit. Go to switch to Linux and DistroTube and explore the world of Linux. There's a lot of other great creators out there too. They're just, you shouldn't play favorites, but they're my favorites. Yeah, they're my favorite creators. And they're so smart, like Neil deGrasse Tyson, they really get into their thing, and I'm like, that's amazing. What did he say? So anyway, but go around and listen to a number of different videos on YouTube. Fascinating. And there's really well-educated, smart people that are producing videos out there. Oh my gosh, universities and so on. So check those out, and then come back to mine and criticize me. Okay, I like to know there's someone else. So yeah, you can do that. I would be really pleased. And yeah, make fun of this face. How I behave. I don't care. I make fun of myself, and I feel that's a safe thing to do, more polite, a southern thing to do in southern U.S. That we tend to make fun of ourselves more than other people. Yeah, because you can have a lot of fun with the humor and forget the PC and politically correct in any of that. You can just make fun of yourself. Yeah. There are jokes about um, groups in which I might fit, and I love them. they're funny. Um, but making fun of other people, there's a limit to things, and then, it's made up things, like trying to say that this whole group is dumb. Now, here's an area of trade where I did not appreciate the trade. I was working at a gas station when I was young, and it was a franchise thing. I mean, it was, but they were flying Texaco banner. So essentially, I wasn't just their employee; I was an employee of Texaco too. And the guy delivering the gas, one of the guys, would come in with jokes. It was usually about Polish people or something, but others as well. And I would sit and or stand or wherever it was at there. And I would hear what the guy's saying, and I would just get my wan smile mm-hmm. And I decided, okay, let's flip this. So the next time he came in, I started to tell those kind of jokes, but butt of the joke, Texaco employees, him and me. How many Texaco employees does it take to screw in a light bulb? You know? And the more I told him, it's like, he's the look coming over his face, like, he quit telling those jokes to me. And maybe he quit telling them to anybody. So, okay. There's that. It's not right to make fun of people in a way that's or criticize them in a way that means that they're inferior to anybody else. But there are quirky things that seem to be a thing with groups. Like as a Democrat, I mean, how woke am I? And is that a good thing or bad thing? Whatever. And it has its extremes, and humor can help us point out when we're being too extreme. I think that's very valuable humor and a very good trait. So, I don't like to be really uh, limiting on what I accept in comedy, and yeah, it also depends on how you receive a message. Like I say, I have a very clownish kind of a face, really. I mean, I'm not going to be the good-looking star of some kind of movie. Not especially at my age, but yeah, I'm a bit of a clown, Sam, me. And so if I can see that and laugh about it, then you're free to do the same thing. Um, but we can throw in some compliments too now. Impressions that influences trade, and sometimes we overly praise somebody because they said, "Oh, we should love the world." So, you don't know what that person doing in their spare time. Maybe they have some kind of brain damage and they're torturing animals or something. We should love the world. Too little data, I think Neil would say. Too little data for you to draw a conclusion. Yeah, so take praise with a grain of salt and criticism too. That's a good and easy way, a more peaceful way to trade communication. Addressing humor anyway. general attitudes. I can, I'm going to address the poison of trade in terms of attitudes about people and stupid generalizations. Like, coming from a Southern family, there are things that I experienced that I found to be concerning. You know, the culture in Tennessee, you know, at the time when I was a kid, was 60s, 50s to a point, but 50s, 60s. Wow. Um, Said to my grandmother, I said, well, why are all the dark-skinned guys over here and all the light-skinned guys are over here at that store over there? Why isn't it mixed up more? It's always like that. And she says, they like it that way. What? This crazy stuff. The worst case was I was hearing some vague statements and talks of hangings and weird stuff by two elderly gentlemen when I was a boy. And it was like they were talking in code, kind of, but you could tell it was not nice. And horrible, you know that. So I went and told my dad, you know, what I was hearing, and I, says, you know, what's wrong with these guys, or whatever. And my dad says, you stay away from those guys. That's what he knew, you know, he was raised down there. He knew. So I'm like, okay, no problem there. Then I had was riding in a car, right? Riding in a car. Old white Chevrolet. Um, Even though it wasn't a new car, you know. Poor people don't ride new cars usually. But we were picking up a lady. My parents in the front seat and I'm in the back, and on those seat belts, and it was that time. And I said, they said to me, we're picking up this lady, and whatever you do, don't mention black, you know, and then there's always got a problem. There's nobody black, yellow, red, and all of that. It's insane. No one's white. Is this white? You know, it's a lot of bullshit. Sorry. You know, come on. But anyway, that's what they said. So we're riding in the car, and this lady gets in, and I was just a little kid. So she's sitting next to me, skinny lady, as I recall, older. And I said to her right away, she's in the car and they're driving down the road. And I said, ma'am, what about black people? You know, they're going to use a phrase. You know what? So anyway, she's sitting there, she's squirming in her seat like, and she comes up with this. She says, wow, they are like children. And I'm like, no, they're not. They're not all children. They're all children. And we, I said, we do. We have to take care of them. But I'm like, then I knew why you don't mention those, that to her. But, is that just one disgustingly weird, mentally ill fragment of her brain. An experience and perception. I don't know, but it was unpleasant. Another time, we visited a home, and there was, how do we say, a dark-skinned family, and we were light-skinned humans. So there was another kid there, and he was darker skinned than me, and we were playing with cats. We were having a great time playing with cats. Hmm. Kittens, you know. And so they had the, in the days where they had the slideshow that families pushed on other people. Here, let's family, it's our vacation, and then the other family pretends like, oh wow, that's really wonderful. It get pretty boring, I think. But that's what they had. Then they go on that slideshow, and they'd taken a picture of me and the dark skinned kid, and so light and dark, and we had kittens that were light and dark. One was darker, one was lighter. And I said, "Look, the kittens are just like us." And, don't say that. I'm like, what? Don't say that. I think that was one of my first brushes with, it was like, what in the world? What was wrong with me saying that? It's like weird. So, yeah, I never had problems much. There was, that poison is, it affects you. And I remember I had a friend, was a young man, and we were great friends. So we went to a bar, which was mostly light-skinned people in Tennessee. And we sat there and we sat there and we sat there, and there was no service. And he's going, we should leave. And I'm like, why? You don't see it, The other person does. He says, I think we should go. And it's okay. So we went to a bar that he'd gone to more dark skinned people. He thought it was just fine. But I saw all the looks that were coming my way. I think we should leave. It's like, isn't that sad? What a crazy thing. That is just crazy that you can't make this stuff up. It's just, what's wrong with it? I'm sorry, but that's the insulting word stupid does come to my mind. I mean, how lacking in reflection, how weird and paranoid, uh, you know, and it's all around the world. It's all around the world. And then the saddest thing that happened to me, talking about the love trade not working, and kind of being pushed toward making a decision which harmful to me. And it was, I fell in love with a dark skinned lady. She had a kid by a German guy. Really, really loved them both. And we were going to get married. So I called up my parents, and my father says, well, it'd be hard on the children. He's pretty cool dude. So, I said, yeah, maybe. People shouldn't stop love. They should never do that. But my mother surprised me with hateful, racist phrases that I couldn't take throwing that little boy into grandmother like that. So that's my mother. So I'm like, so I sat next to my fiance, and this is, I think, we shouldn't, we should go through with this. And she just looked really sad, and I guess she had a lot of disappointment in her life, and so she didn't even say anything about it. But the little boy took one of her hands and puts it on the other. Put our hands together. Wow. Later on, I was heading away from there, and it just dawned on me, and that's the heck with my mother. I'm going to marry her. And then I couldn't find her. So in that trade, you see the poison that lack of true introspection and empathy caused. So you think these videos and things are just all lighthearted or whatever, but no, very serious. We need empathy in the world, and there's nothing irrational about it. It's sensible and meaningful. If anything spiritual, it's empathy. You know, it just is. So, sorry, I'm asking you to be a what, warrior for empathy? Yeah, in a way, yeah. You're going to make somebody uncomfortable. Talk about it as a comforting approach to, so, yeah. But you're expanding that comfort. Objectivity, creativity, and compassion. And that's spirituality. And that's peaceful trade. And that's neither introverted nor extroverted, and it is both. Yeah, both and neither. And you know, and it's beautiful. And if we don't, and no, none of us are perfect. Don't follow anybody. I talked about leadership before. Don't blindly follow people. Don't do. Don't you hear the phrase, "Do as I say, not as I do"? Well, it tells you to try and do what the good things that you say, but um, don't worship people. Don't follow them blindly. Have some self-respect. Do some introspection. When I watch some of these psychologists, supposedly, talking to people and giving them insights, and you're going, "Wow, that's so obvious." If these people had just taken a moment to introspect and view their own selves, they would see that. Boom. And the person's not teaching them a way to do that. They're just giving them their perspective, and they're going, "Oh, wow, how wise." Be wise yourself. Have respect for yourself. Do you think there's something I'm saying that's total BS? Then let me know. Yeah. The less BS in the world, the more progress we, all of us. So, yeah, that's painful things to talk about. I really like to talk about, but sometimes you just need to point out the damage is being done, and we need to stop it. Just stop it. And this Republican Party, dear God, that's well, one thing, it's not the party of Lincoln, that's for dang sure. And here, look at what they're saying. What they're saying. And they're following. So many of them are following a guy who has used phrases that only Hitler used. You know, other people coming to the United States are not a benefit, really. And it's not a benefit to us to help others. Really. Wrong. So the people come in, okay. If they're not, it's not a good enough reason, for them to seek asylum. We'll discover that over time. Meanwhile, they're willing to work. Most of them people, okay, what's the deal? We need younger people here in this country. Why aren't we seeing them as a benefit? Well, look at the dance and the crazy that's going on. We have Texas sending hordes of people to cities that have a kind heart for immigrants in order to turn people against them, against the immigrants, the asylum seekers. Really should be ashamed. Send them all to they should be able to go to a number of different cities and so on and be welcomed, and so that the resources of that place can help them. And we've got the resources. We're the richest country. We can handle that. And we can also make sure that every child in this country eats and doesn't go to school hungry. We can do that. The world needs to focus on things like that. And they'll spend tons and tons of money on weapons that will destroy the whole human race. Nuclear weapons, just one bomb is, we have bombs that are much more powerful than the ones we dropped on Japan, which whether we should have done that or not, that's a military kind of decision, and those are always harsh. But we should strive for peace. And but there are sometimes, yes, you have to go to war. Unfortunately. But if we had peaceful, fair trade, which we're having more of today than we have in the past, it does help things be a little bit better. So don't be ashamed to die because you haven't done some amazing thing like trespassing and cheating. They're great minds. I'll never do that. But I won't be ashamed to die. We all have value. Yeah. Don't be ashamed. But do be inspired. Try to do all that you can to help humanity before you go. I mean, that's the only really spiritual thing, is helping yourself and helping others. Keep the love flow going peacefully, respectfully, and You know, we really got to, but we have to face some negative things that the lack of this empathy is causing. We have third world countries that are employing children to do dangerous work to so that I can have where is it? This cell phone. Well, it shouldn't be. And we're taking tremendous resources away from third world countries and especially Africa. And that stuff is valuable, but we're not being fair with them, obviously. So I guess some of the stronger statements that I'm making here is that you can help yourself. Don't, don't just rely on other people to help you all the time. I mean, that's nice, but as much as possible, help yourself. Don't go a guy, about somebody else's perspective about your feelings. They're your feelings. Your brain that created your perceptions, and it's you, your brain, that knows them and can best work with them. Somebody observing you from the outside is going to be double-blinded sometimes to their own needs and yours. So help yourself, trade fairly, understand that giving and not expecting anything in return has value, and it is a good, fair trade. You are blessed by it. Your mind is expanded. Your compassion, your creativity, and your objectivity have improved. That's, if you've had kids, then you have that capacity. You have the capacity to not only love your own kids, but to love kids around the world. Am I right? I hope so. I had a friend that told me that light-skinned guys would come by and spit on his head. And just say, you're not about punishment. Yeah, well, I am about healing. And guys like that need to be put into a mental institution. You need to call it out. It's a mental illness, If you don't want to be considered mentally ill, don't act like it. So, put them into a place where they can't spit on people's heads and help them with inner mind communication and other approaches that help them be a better person. A more empathetic person. Let's put it that way. I won't say better or worse because they're still valuable. They're valuable to us because helping them is very educational and it helps us expand our own empathy. The death penalty don't do that. And there are people that were innocent and you killed them. And it's something that affects people of color, for instance, more. And you could go on and on. So I'm not just giving a positive presentation. Positive and negative, two sides of the same coin. These negative things need to be dealt with. So is there a reason to watch these videos? Yes. a reason for you to understand what I'm saying? Yes, I think so. Is there a reason for you to criticize me where I'm wrong? Yeah, it's your duty if you see something. Um, but we need to have more empathetic communication going on in the world, period. We need to understand trade from not from a greedy perspective, but from a love flow perspective. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm a little worked up. Can I be calm? Oh, yes. I can just look over here and see the snow falling and the sleigh going across the screen that I didn't put there. And I know the guy switched politics who just hate that. Somebody putting something on his computer he didn't okay. And I think it's very charming. I appreciate him doing that was really fun. There it is, the reindeer and the Santa again. Yep. Anyway, but hmm. Yeah, need to wrap this up. I think I've bored enough people and disturbed enough people, and made a few good points. I think when you're old, it's kind of hard sometimes. You lose track of what you're saying. Yeah, you do. But there's something about polishing things up and giving the impression that a false impression that I have no faults and tricks to make my face look younger, better. Okay, that's your thing. Go ahead. It's called makeup, right? But there's enough reality out there to experience without having to make it up. And of course, in your imagination, you're making it up. That's okay, but know that's what you're doing. We don't see we don't see directly full reality. We wouldn't be able to function if we did. All of the different wavelengths, and colors, and everything. An overload, probably, or an unessential for human survival at this point. Yep. So, I will end all of this. It's been a tired day for me today. And death is knocking on my door. I know. With all that's wrong with me and the estimates of probable lifespan, I'm definitely at the end of the story. But that has some value. And I've learned a few things. And some of you know what you want, you should share. So create your own YouTube channel. Let me know. Subscribe. Much as I can handle. I'm already subscribed to so many. And if you want to subscribe to this channel, I promise you that it's going to get better. And there will be other faces other than my own eventually. I'm certain of that. Eventually, what's going to do that, or there will be channels that are similar. Okay. So anyhow, subscribe if you would. That would possibly help me out, and I could use a little more money. So I haven't monetized any of that. So probably need to at some point because So don't muzzle the ox that treads the grain. So nothing wrong if you want to get some Linux or presentations of Linux in your YouTube channel. It's fine. For me, money's never been a big factor. As long as I have what I need, and except if it gave me the opportunity to give more, that would be great. Anyway, that's in this. You know, you want to see the snow again? You know, there's the snow. That's you see my telling me that okay. Come on, come on. Where's the sleigh? All right, come on. Come on. Boy, they don't. That animation. There it is. Okay, there it is. There's Santa and the reindeer. Switch to Linux. I hope you're saying this. Anyway, that would just annoy him. I'm doing it. Oh, I think maybe not. Yeah, maybe I'll hear from him. Anyway, anyway, the word namaste is something I like to use because it's a high honor of both yourself and the other person when you use that greeting, which you can use for goodbye and hello. So, and again, it means full sense. It's realization that we're, put in physics terms, we're all manifestations of space-time, and that is a wondrous thing, and we are part of it, and we have these amazing brains that help us understand even the universe. If you're smart as Neil, and maybe a little bit, but yeah. Anyhow, so that wonder in me, that love flow that I have, that potentiality, oneness with all mysterious universe, would like to honor that same in you. Namaste. And have a good day, y'all.